Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to another one of these. It's the Three Amigos, brought to you in association with the IDF. Well, I thought we'd kick off today's show because there's no football to talk about. Had a cracking call with Chris B a couple of days ago and said, listen, I've got a brilliant idea. We'll just freestyle it. We'll talk about everything going that is really unpalatable. And then we can throw in some football stuff at the end because that's basically the amount of time that it's due. So, Chris, this was your idea. Over to you.
Time out, lads. Time out.
Yeah, I suggest we start with the Rape Sympathisers Arsenal Football Club. And
Funny that, isn't it? What a peculiar state of affairs.
Bearing in mind, notably, you had Gylfi Sigurdsson deleted from the face of the world without actually any evidence, seemingly. You had
Sigurdsson be gone, the new product. Ding!
Adam Johnson, who played with what he wanted to, and he was sent to Epstein Island. And then you had the who was the guy? Mendy, was it, the fullback for Man City?
Benjamin Mendy, yeah.
You need hands to show them that you care.
Well, he was remanded to HMP Pleasure, wasn't he? But it was the worst kept secret in football. Everybody knew that Partey was supposedly a rapist, yet they continued for 3 years to play him. And you think they've got a lot to answer for. It just does not. It's not befitting of a club of the supposed stature of Arsenal Football Club.
I don't know if anybody remembers, because this is going back to perhaps a pre-Elon Musk ex-Twitter. But there was a woman involved in that who was tweeting with abandon about the Thomas Partey case. And it was stuff that needed to be in a solicitor's office. I mean, it was really well formatted and didn't come across as the jabberings of some cuckoo. And I thought, this is really serious. This has got to go somewhere, because either this person is right completely through the looking glass or they're telling the truth. It was that class of stuff. And it was clearly all absolutely on the money. I mean, we make light of it, not because of the topic of the conversation, but because football has no. I mean, I actually witnessed this. I met a Chelsea blogger, very big site, and saying to him about the racism, the everything about them. And he said, "Yeah, but we're amoral. You have people that who are apolitical. And I don't do death and all the rest of it." He said, "Yeah, we are amoral. We don't operate with any morality in our view of the club.
Football's a business, and it's all about assets. It's all about incomes, and it's all about image rights. And when they should do the right thing, they don't. But just going back to Greenwood at United acted with complete dignity and professionalism when all of that stuff unfolded, and he's never been seen at Manchester United again, because the impact he could have on the image was so great from the worldwide marketplace, all of the charities, the domestic violence groups, etc. They realised that it was untenable for him to continue. And
I don't know. That's a very good example, because again with him, do you remember? But either the girlfriend or people connected to her, there were images of the bruising, and there was audio of him basically saying, "Well, I'll do what I fucking want," and demanding sex. And like the Thomas Partey stuff, anybody in their right mind has just we've got to get away from this. This isn't going to go away. This is horrible. But Arsenal Football Club made a conscious decision to ignore that woman that was on X, because she wasn't on there for very long. And the stuff was a bit sophisticated, because it wasn't as bite-sized, as much of an easy peeler as here's some images of some significant bruising, and here's an audio which is clearly his voice basically saying, "Give me what I want," which is very digestible. Whereas Arsenal stuff that was kicking around online for a very brief period of time was a little bit sophisticated, was a little bit, as I said, formatted, and yeah, they made the wrong decision. But as you
Well,
say, it's a business.
the problem they have is that he was interviewed under caution on numerous occasions in police custody units. For you to be interviewed under caution, there has to be reasonable grounds to suspect you've committed a criminal offence. So they can't say they weren't aware of the severity of it, because he had repeatedly been into interviews with under caution with a solicitor, and you would have.
Oh, they would have. They, who knows what they would?
Who knows? Well, that's it, folks. And remember to pay your electric bill.
Yeah, good luck and keep it on them.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Keep it to them. And here's Miss Piggy with the rest of the story.
Yeah, everything just dropped out. Then it said refreshing page, and everything was a blur. But all I was saying
is that what you told the cops?
Yeah,
All
all I was saying was that they will struggle, because it would have been aware, and you would think a organisation the size of them, with all their legal services, their barristers, their solicitors, they made a bad call on that one. But it'd be our luck if the senior executive who managed that was Vinay, whatever his name is, who's now our chief executive.
Verschickten
Yeah, that was his last.
That well-known Indian Nazi.
I think the way you know what he's been in Argentina for a long time. Hence the SPF problem. Yeah. No, I mean I just think the way that football clubs handle stuff, as you say, it is a business. And they really, 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 truly, sincerely don't give a beep about humanity. I mean, look at Spurs. Sorry, you're gonna have to move your family business that's been here for 200 years out of the way. Well, are you building a baby hospital? No, we want to sell corn dogs to Americans.
This is unfortunately and this is it's a kind of a deeper subject, but not we're going to explore today. But this is pretty much just endemic of the way the law treats women and sexual crimes like this, that sort of thing. The apathy towards it is disgusting. It really is absolutely disgusting.
Well, I think it became popular, or became popularized, to assert that rape allegations and sexual crime allegations weren't always true. There were people out there fibbing, which is tremendously dangerous, because it's not something to be taken lightly. This isn't litter dropping. This is something that destroys people's lives forever. Mm-hmm. Period. Forever. And I mean, I can't speak from experience, obviously, and this isn't a point for jokes. But I mean, the idea that you would denigrate that in any respect is wow. Okay, if there are people out there telling fibs or embellishing stuff, then fine. Let the law take its course. But I do think that was popularized. I mean, there was that footballer. Oh, he's gone again. I knew if we didn't keep this light, he'd get bored and go home with his ball under his arm. I knew it was happening.
In honour of our esteemed YouTube colleague, Mr. Norman Stanley Fletcher, I put my moniker up as "Welcome to Fritzl Family Fortunes," but that seems a bit tasteless now.
I missed it. Sorry, I missed that. That's superb. Yeah,
that seems, given the subject matter, it seems a little bit tasteless and off key, basically.
Off key, yeah. I should have said that. Well, I had seen it, but I thought I'd skirt around it. But there it was, beneath your own name. But no, absolutely bizarre the way the football conducts itself, to put it mildly. So Arsenal are out shopping, though. They've not skipped a beat.
I don't think we can move on just yet from Arsenal, as we need to discuss the fate of, who was it, the fired former kitman Mark Barnett, who had been at Arsenal for 20 years, but he dared to stand for Palestine and was subsequently.
Or have an opinion, or basically, I thought it was allegedly, and I'm sure many people would disagree with this. Allegedly, this is supposed to be a free country where you have the right to express your own opinion, as long as it's not hate crime, as long as it's not hate speech.
Democracy ceased to exist many months ago.
And what was this guy? What was this guy? What was his rock? His hill he chose to die on? What was it?
He supported Palestine. He supported, the what was happening.
Plasticene's brilliant. You can make anything out of it, and they all smell. The different colours smell differently. No,
wrong Palestine.
I've run out.
But having an opinion, basically, he was sacked for having an opinion.
Yeah, I mean that can't be done. I mean, oh no, it can be done. You've heard of the BBC, yeah?
Yeah. Chris has just decided that he just wants to fuck with us today. He's just going to pop in and out as he seems fit,
This, I think we're going to have to call this record. What was that game you used to play at the fair? Where was it whack-a-mole?
Whack-a-mole.
Here we go, whack-a-mole, whack-a-mole. So he was voicing pro-Palestinian opinions, and Arsenal got rid of him.
Yeah.
Where was that? So their conscience is okay when it comes to somebody expressing a view that they don't necessarily agree with, but rapists are fine.
Well, it depends. I've got to be careful what I say for once.
That's never stopped you before.
But no, it's. I find it peculiar with this business of people feeling passionately strongly about things, which don't immediately connect with them. And he's gone again. This is what happens.
The two amigos today, shall we?
Yeah, the 2.5 amigo. This is what happens if you operate your entire family home off of a lamppost. And in some parts of the UK, the weather doesn't support this business model. But no, it's just I just find it bizarre, because if you want to get very emotional about what human beings are doing to each other, you only have to look at the various places in Africa, and there's appalling atrocities have been going on. I managed to catch a video with a guy yesterday saying that 25 million people have gone missing in the last 10 years in Sierra Leone or somewhere. I can't remember. I mean, it's just bizarre.
Well, this is the point I was making previously, H, wasn't it? That when we sort of go down these rabbit holes about Israel, about Gaza, about all that sort of stuff, and footballers associated with it, like Manor Solomon and what have you, you can always point to another part of the world where something else is going on and some other footballer is involved, or not involved, but it's their country and what have you, and all that sort of thing. How far down that rabbit hole would you go? And you mentioned earlier, actually, said that football is amoral. No, it's immoral. To me, it's immoral, because amoral means you don't have a stance one way or the other. Immoral means you take a stance knowing it's wrong and still do it anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. I mean, the only true key thing is cash. That's all they're interested in. That's 100%. All they're interested in. But no, the problem we have in this country, is the fact that we've now almost perfected, and it's been assisted under a Labour government who have been smashing, a luxury belief island. So you've got all these people who are terribly entitled to express their opinions, unless, of course, their opinions are pulled beneath them, like Tommy Cooper doing a magic trick at a family dinner with a tablecloth, and wandering around screaming "Free Palestine," and in the crowd are people waving trans flags and all the rest of it. This is the crazy petri dish of Europe. Is the UK, and I just fear for the future. So who else has been up to no good, Chris? Before you go again, I mean, we value your appearances.
I think the AI interaction on the computer must be getting a bit nervous about the topics of discussion, as it keeps on kicking me out and saying refresh. So let's
refresh your thinking.
Let's move on to our dear old friend Jonathan Barnett.
Yeah, let's go from one sexual predator to another, shall we?
Jonathan Barnett, the man who with whom butter wouldn't melt, and and for those of you joining us late, he's up on what do they call it again?
Well, it's similar to that offence that it suggests the party may have committed. Obviously, he's not been found guilty, so you've got to be very careful.
You have to be very careful because he's got lots of money. I will read
the BBC reporting as of the 4th of July. High-profile British sports agent Jonathan Barnett has been accused of raping a woman more than 39 times, a US lawsuit has claimed. In a civil complaint lodged at a US district court in Los Angeles, the unnamed woman, referred to as Jane Doe, said Mr.
John
Barnett,
Doe.
John Jane Doe.
yeah, Mr. Barnett trafficked her from Australia
Oh
to the
dear.
UK in 2017, tortured and kept her as a sex slave over a 6-year period.
Imagine having to listen to "Tie Me Kangaroo Down" back to back in your blacked out accommodation. That is horrible. That is a heavy charge. That's
a very
not
heavy charge. But I would also add to that I've been
That
married
is very-
34 years, and I wouldn't have done that.
I mean,
I chose for that to happen to me for 34 years.
I voted for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I found Barnett to be a bit of a caricature. I had an email exchange with him during the Gareth Bale thing. You can't accuse me of being racist or anti-Semitic. You certainly can't accuse me of being anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
but it was
just a nutter, as I read about you on the
yeah, from people with
Yes.
three followers on their social media accounts.
yeah.
And one of them is going to be shaving in the forthcoming weeks. But he was very much, oh, don't worry about that, my dear. It was like dealing with Fagin from Oliver Twist. And I just found him like a caricature of a caricature, a parody beyond all sort of belief. But yeah, very strange character. But this blew my mind. I mean, the amount of, I mean, just speaking as somebody who always looks at things perhaps a bit too in depth, my mind rattles at a speed of knots. And the idea that requires a lot of infrastructure, to use the word that makes a lot of Spurs fans very excited, to keep somebody hostage and to feed them and clothe them and get them to the toilet back and forth. I mean, I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying that's an industry. That the level of planning is different. I mean, that's
Daniel
crazy.
Daniel Levy's been doing it with us as.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
He's now reverted into a ventriloquist act.
Yeah, Levy's been doing it with us as fans for the last 27 years, and we've failed to escape, haven't we?
Stockholm fans, come on, you Stockholms. But yeah, no, I mean it's but I mean, this is either because this isn't, your Thomas Partey level of offence. Come over here, babe. This is real planning has gone into this. But yeah, not making light of it. I mean, it's terrible. But yeah, I'm sure he's got extremely good lawyers. So this better be of substance, as they say.
That's probably half the reason why they do it, because they know they've got extremely good lawyers.
Yeah.
Money again, isn't it? Money talks, doesn't it?
Extremely wealthy people who might have to cough up a few quid to cut a deal to avoid it ever getting before the courts.
We're not dragging the royal family into this. So are we all enjoying the international break and the transfer window? Are we all enjoying it? Are we?
That depends on your definition of enjoy.
Well, I've been kept in this room for the last 39 weeks, and this old man comes in occasionally and interferes with me. And if I'm a good boy, he puts a plate of baked beans under the door.
Well, it's same old, unfortunately, again, isn't it? Or just on another note, actually, just thinking about on another note, what happened with with Diogo Jota? That was terrible, absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
and Phil, as much as most of anybody outside of Liverpool despises Liverpool as a club because they feel entitled to everything, what's happened there deserves everybody's sympathies and his family's sympathies. And when I heard about it, I was really shocked. My heart goes out to all his family and friends. It's just terrible tragedy.
Did a tyre go on his Lamborghini or something? Was that?
Yeah, it was over. Apparently, according to the reports, he was overtaking a car or something, and the tyre went, and they went off the road and crashed.
I think
didn't know much about it, but that's little consolation.
Yeah, exactly. I think the thing that stood out for me is how professional Liverpool have been about the thing that they're going to continue paying the last 2 years of his contract to his family. I think that's an admirable touch. if that happened to you at Tottenham, they'd be charging your family for the career highlights DVD, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I think that's all. I think that's barely touching it. I mean, Daniel Levy charges storage for the bloody body. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible, isn't it? Absolutely horrible.
You're absolutely right, Chris. The thing is, though, when you got, as much as that's a terrible thing. These things, unfortunately, that's life. In that these things can happen to anybody. But it just shows again the measure of the club that Liverpool is. Not only are they a measure of a club on a personal level, in terms of the way they dealt with that and the way they're dealing with it, but also when you look at them from a football perspective, they're getting their business done. They've got their business done early, and they've gone in hard to get the players they wanted, and they're in a great position to go and turf it all up again next year.
Yeah, I mean, at the risk of veering into football, the amount of football transfers that other people are doing is enough to make Spurs fans quite outraged. We're sat here in this sort of coma of doing effectively nothing, and nobody's really saying anything, and that's partly the point of this show. For anybody struggling, when are you going to talk about Kudus and all the rest of it? There isn't really much to discuss because Spurs haven't done anything. I mean, I have the traditional.com. You come to my Substack, so you get this sort of crap. You get this sort of politically incorrect monkeys throwing their own poop at each other because that's what intelligent people do. But you go to theboyhotspur.com, and we have been recycling. Here's an exclusive. We've been recycling the same guano for the same.
You just make it up, though, don't you? Isn't it just like?
Well, sometimes you make stuff up, and people don't even believe that. I mean, the last audit we hadn't even got the date right, and on the timestamp on the top right-hand corner of the website. But I mean, I put that down to the pressure of the business.
Yeah,
you can't expect it to be everywhere, can you?
But I can't believe neither of you have decided we need to talk about Fabian Otte. We've actually been out there and got Liverpool's goalkeeping coach over the weekend, but none of you have even bothered to talk about that. Shame on you.
Who is Fabian Otte? He's a Liverpool's so they got rid of him because he wasn't very good.
We've brought him in, 34-year-old, extremely highly regarded in the game, and only left Liverpool at the end of it, seen as a major coup by Tottenham.
Major coup.
Yeah, his first
isn't that a carrier pigeon that served in the war? Major coup.
No. What that was Chris desperately reminding himself not to say coop.
Yeah. a coup de grace.
It was a coup de grazie.
Yeah, but his first objective is to teach Vicario how to catch a ball.
First objective is to teach Vicario how to catch a plane back to Italy.
Vicario couldn't catch because Vicario couldn't catch an STD. Good God!
Not with that personality. But no, I mean, left, right, and centre. Everybody is doing business. Everybody's out there doing business.
You're not satisfied.
Arsenal complete 51 million quid deal for Zubimendi. I mean, I don't even know who he is, but that's a triple letter Scrabble score.
You're not satisfied with the captures from the youth team of Leeds. Come on, you're being ungrateful.
I tell you what, I did think it was great. Did you see the guy? The guy's taken over the women's team at Spurs.
Ho or something is his name.
He's standing there, and of course he's Australian, so I just warmed to him immediately. He's standing there, great to be at this amazing club, blah, blah. And all the comments underneath go, "It's AI. This is AI gone wrong."
Remember when our former manager, that footballing icon, that great Ange Postecoglou left? We were told he had all these offers and it'd be snapped up within weeks.
Give me a break.
5 weeks later or something, I still haven't seen him at a professional football club, and the last club he was linked with was Los Angeles, whatever they call themselves.
Los Angeles Spoonmakers. No, I mean, I think Disneyland's under 12s probably need a head coach at some point.
I did hear a rumor that he was going to manage the Pirates of the Caribbean animatronic display. That's about his level, isn't it? Really.
Well, I heard he went for an interview at Raleigh Bikes, and he went to
It's
see,
rally for us Southerners. Rally.
Rally, yeah, Rally. But he went to see them.
For the pusher amongst us, it's Raleigh. Thank you very much, Christopher.
Yes. For those of us enjoying a brand that's been, it's called
That's a
Raleigh
little
for a
bit
reason.
the English language, my lad.
Yes. So take your coupe and fuck off.
Your coupe de Gracie.
Your coupe de Gracie. Yeah, but apparently the interview was going really well. But then he said he wanted to reinvent the wheel. They threw the fat fuck out.
Tune in next week when you'll hear Nurse Piggy say.
But Rally. Chris bombing around his estate on his grifter bike.
I was going to say, Chris going around his council estate riding his chopper, but I'm not quite sure.
Chris, and you thought they were all at Thomas parties, but no, they're outside now waiting to speak to you. It's the Metropolitan Police. For crimes committed as a naked 17-year-old boy.
17, I was 30 at the time.
Oh, his chopper. It was bright orange, it was.
You should see him change gear with one hand, I tell you, one hand.
He held that chopper with both hands, and his hands, I tell you, they were massive hands.
Yeah, big goalkeeper's hands. Well, at least the Pirates of the Caribbean auditions are going well. All we need now is somebody to be a football coach. We can go to war, lads. War, I say, war.
But it goes. You're right, though, Chris. It says something about this club and the mentality of this club, in that's considered one of the highlights of the transfer window, is hiring someone who is basically not. Yes, he's linked to football, but it's not going to do anything in relation to the actual improvement of the squad, because no, Vicario's. You can have a goalkeeping coach. He's a lost cause. He's just not good enough. It's just end of story. You've got to have something to work with.
Well, I think the funniest thing I read this week was something I wrote, and then went back and I did it sort of on the hoof, sort of quite quick. I referred to him as being the cross-eyed streak of prosciutto, and he's cross-eyed. Look at him. I mean, you can shoot him between the eyes, but you need a very small gauge bullet to get in there. But
quite a few teams managed to get past him with amazing regularity last season.
Amazing regularity, yeah. Forget your eating plenty of fibre. Just take 3 Vicarios a month to keep you regular. But no, he's an absolute disaster as a goalkeeper, and I'd be shocked if he doesn't come unstuck next term, and we don't then start asking questions about him specifically. There's a good opportunity to reinforce the back line at Tottenham, but I don't know if Tottenham are going to do it because it's going to cost a few quid, and there's some decent names out there.
It made me laugh when you saw the returning heroes on Saturday turn up for first day of pre-season training, and you had Gil on a bike alone, talking
on his own. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
And then you had Valise, who's clearly got as much of a future at Tottenham Football Club as any of us 3 have. And you think these are people that should have been moved on long ago. And our problem is that we can't move people on. You look at the fans, all of a sudden say, I'd rather keep Basuma. No, Basuma needs to go. Or people last week celebrating that Son said he wants to stay. No, he needs to go. He's not good enough. Age caught up with him. And this
isn't a football club anymore. This is a Dr. Bernardo's open day, and this is where you can come and adopt somebody, for the cost of a goldfish. I mean, it's just surreal. Brian Heel doesn't have a future in football on most continents.
This isn't a charity. This isn't the Bernardo's, but this is a hostage situation. That's basically what it's ended up being, hasn't it? Really, is that we're hostage to fortunes of a whim of an idiot of a chairman.
Yeah, I mean,
this reverts back.
Sorry, go on.
This reverts back to the Thomas party, the opening of this conversation. Somebody physically leant us over a table and rigorously chuffed us from behind as we gave them Eric Lamella and what was it, £30 million for Gill. And what return have we ever seen for that investment? None whatsoever. Our scouting department deserves to be executed because that bloke was never going to make it in the Premiership. He's about 5'2" and 9 stone dripping wet. And
he was given his own dietitian and chef or something to try and bulk him up, and that didn't work.
I could have done that on his behalf. It's not difficult, is it?
No, well, I mean, not with your background. I hope he wasn't scared of needles.
I was going to say three steaks per day and a bottle of Malbec, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A bottle of Rioja.
Yeah, Rioja. At least you'd be able to say it properly.
Mush. Oi.
But we all the only news the only substantial news that really seems to be coming out is about how many people we're trying to get rid of rather than trying to buy. And this comes off the back of a young Daniel saying, "But we want to win the Champions League, and we want to win this, and we want to win the Premier League." And it's just like, well, yeah, what do you want to win it? What do you want to win it with? Is that on Football Manager or something?
You can't ask him direct questions that are so loaded like that. I mean, come on. I mean, I actually believe from the stuff that I've read in the Spanish press that
you can read Spanish, can you?
Google Translate.
Deme dos cerveza, por favor, mucho gracias.
This is about. Oh, did you see you got the gracias bit in at the end there? A man who can mispronounce in any language.
Hola,
Good morning. I wish to spoke to you.
Do you have a license for your minky? I'm an officer of the law, you know. But no, I mean, Daniel Levy is supposedly set to have a second face-to-face chat with Cuti Romero, who, to my mind, and obviously I've got psychic powers, but he doesn't want to be here.
100%. No.
Doesn't want to be here. He's like a guest at Jonathan Barnett's.
No. We might just segue out of that. Come on.
So I edited that bit. It's okay. It's all gone. But no, I mean, he genuinely doesn't want to be here. And
Matthew Tell didn't want to be here either, did he? And we've ended up making him permanent freaking transfer.
Well, we put 40 grand and him together, and we bought. We sold Harry Kane.
Yeah,
I mean, it's absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. The way the club does business is terrifying. And I predicted with this Mohamed Kudus thing. And he is a thing because I think he's a creature. I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. And I wrote a piece, and I said this to Chris on the phone the other day. I took my brain out and wrote it like one of these incels and said, yeah, I could see a double pivot of him and Kulusevski behind whoever we put in the attack. And it might bring to life Solanke and, going back to Brentford and, thank God for that, he's gone. He was horrible today, wasn't he? He wanted to do all this rape stuff. I wasn't interested. I said I didn't want to do it.
Funny, mate, but why have you got him on this program anymore?
I don't like him at all. Honestly, no, he's a complete and he bullies me. Bullying is endless. It was a coup de grace getting him on. I mean, really was. It was a disaster. But no, so I came up with this thing, and then I looked at the off the paper thing and looked on the pitch. Punching the small children in our squad and fisticuffs, a ban that was escalated and a fine that was escalated by the FA. His form has been on a at West Ham, and I predicted that it was going to be another one of these 50 million quid deals over 5 years. And what a surprise! That's what it comes out with, and that was from the Guardian.
Well,
so the idea that we'd be locked into this guy who is dubious at best, but locked into this guy,
into people who actually just this is the typical thing. It was with Solanke as well. we lock into people who have one good season, and we think they're the dog's bollocks. And I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You want consistency over a period of time. You know, you look at, I keep harking back to it, but the reason why I hark back to it is because they've had a bloody good transfer window. Liverpool, the players they've got, they've bought. They bought players who are ready, who are at the top of their game. I mean, people say, "Oh well, Wirtz, he isn't Premier League tested." Trust me, he's good enough. There's no question about that. He is more than good enough. He's German international, for God's sake. They can play anywhere. We are locked into these people who have had one half decent season, and then everybody knows that that's the way we operate. So therefore, they decide we'll stuck another 20 million on top of the valuation. Kudus is not worth 60, 70, 80 million, not even close. 30 million, yeah. No way is he worth anything over 40 million. Well, we should not be going anywhere near it for anything more.
It's the Tottenham tax, Tony. It's the Tottenham tax.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how it works, to put this into simple language, because there will be people sitting there saying, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." Last week, and this is going back to my quilt story. Last week, I bought a T-shirt for £4. I was very happy with it. I put it in the washing machine, and it came out, and there was colour separation on the thing. It cost £4. This T-shirt and others are available in my wardrobe. Cost considerably more than £4. Cost more than X multiplier. I throw this in the washing machine. It comes out. It's brand new. You get what you pay for. If you don't get what you pay for, then you get lucky. Now, are we a get lucky enterprise, or are we a £1 billion stadium, Deloitte Money League darling? What are we?
It's like when I woke up.
We're being run like a lucky bag.
It's like when I woke up after 15 pints of lager in Playa de las Americas one morning and found I'd spent €150 on a pair of Oakley sunglasses.
And then we're wondering if once you got them out and cleaned them, would you want to wear them in good faith again?
Well, it's when I stepped out into the blistering sunshine and thought that my retinas were on fire. And I actually felt for one moment like somebody had me a treat.
Well, anybody who elects to buy anything with Oakley written on the side of it needs their eyeballs looking at anyway.
Well, that's the 15 pints is a fairly decent excuse. But when you go to South Carolina and buy a pair of Brokeback Mountain football boots and a Stetson, I'm sorry, I'm not having that as an excuse.
Hang on a minute. We've witnessed in Technicolor some of your purchasing decisions you've made while you're sober, and I'm not talking about the steaks with the dinosaur bones coming out of them. But I'm saying, hey lads, what size cowboy boots are you with the revolving Diamante heels? All of a sudden, everybody's phone line goes.
Better to set standards than just to be a follower of them.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. Better to be a leader than a follower, isn't it? Eh?
Said Mr. J. Barnett of Bedfordshire.
Yeah, said Mr. J. Epstein.
No, but I mean, there appears to be, like you say, an undercurrent of complete mental incompetence involved in this. And somebody left a comment. I'm not going to start the war again because I don't row with children, but about a certain YouTuber selling kudos to us this morning on my YouTube channel. I'm not even going to reply. What are you selling? You know, I don't buy players from West Ham on the same basis that I don't drink from a toilet bowl. You can't sell me anything. I don't see his form isn't in an uplift. It's hunkering down. His temperament is extraordinarily questionable.
No, I don't mind that, as we need some shithousery in our side, as we've been a bunch of pussies for far too long.
We don't. Yeah, but you see the shithousery and the shithousery. Somebody
go into a bar room and win the brawl, and I want somebody. Tell you what, I'm a bit nervous about the price tag for Kudus, but if you looked at him during his Ajax days, he's far better than anything we've got at the moment on the right-hand side, and he's fast as fuck.
Well, the problem I have is that somebody said, again, I think it was on the YouTube, but don't forget about Richarlison. He had a scrap with a Spurs player before he came. Yeah, and he's been bloody hopeless.
I'm trying desperately to forget about Richarlison. And Chris has been so outraged, he's just decided to leave the conversation. He's like Mr. Angry, Steve Wright, Mr. Angry. I'm so angry, I'm going to slam the phone down.
He's been like that all week. He's been really, just honestly, just bullying, endless bullying.
It's the menu pause, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the menu pause.
Something Google's not liking the link today. It keeps on kicking me in and out. I apologise.
He's got a peri menu pause. That's what he's got.
Or is it someone just interfering with his perineum?
Yeah.
Shake it, don't break it.
But the thing is with Kudus, he had a good season last season, but again, one season wonder. You want to buy players like Eze. Why? I mean, Eze has been a proven player for a number of years, and we know what he brings, and he brings a hell of a lot more than we've already got. So let's just go out, stop pissing about, go out, and just buy the guy, get him on board, get it done, move on. But no, we have to faff around with payment plans. 2 pints of lager and a packet of Chris over 16 years and all that sort of nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just embarrassing.
I think it's been. Oh, he's gone again. Well, at least he's trying to provide some entertainment because
he comes in, does a mic drop on the subject, and walks out.
Here he comes.
Yeah.
Stop playing with your underwear. You keep on knocking the cable with taking your shoes off.
Are you riding your chopper, Christopher? Oh, look, Ma, no hands.
Look, no hands. Who's under the desk, kids? Who's under the desk?
At parties, he sticks it in his ear and calls himself a petrol pump.
But no, it's but with me, with Eze, there's a fair amount of Crystal Palace have done what we wanted to do. Who cares? If he's the finished product, go out and buy him.
Yeah,
just because you don't get the cash and don't get the kudos, because you weren't able to produce a player out of thin air.
Was it the kudos or the kudus? I'm getting confused.
Kudus, Mohammed Kudus.
But this is the thing we do all the time. All we constantly do is lowball everything we get. We don't go out and go, let's go out and go. Oh, for God's sake. Can we just accept that he's not going to be here anymore?
Hey, hang on. I'm just going to get a Post-it note and draw a rough approximation of his face on it. and leave it there. Chris, have you got 27 tabs open on your machine?
Oh, no, it just keeps on flashing up. This page is having a problem. You need to refresh. And I'm thinking one of you is actually just winding me up. Like,
no, that's not me.
You should have stopped after you should have stopped when you said this page is flashing, mate. That's it. You should have just stopped there, mate. You really should have done.
Yeah, it's testing my patience, I've got to say.
Well, I can only assure you, I don't. If I was chopping, God, you used to be careful with the language you use here. But if I was chopping you off, then you wouldn't be getting a message on your machine.
Yeah. I don't know. You, Joseph Fritzl, Rolf Harris.
Can you tell who it was yet?
Thank God you never fixed it for me to be a podcast presenter. That's all I'm saying.
Now then.
If you want to be the best, better than the rest.
Yeah.
But just go out and buy him. Just go.
I don't think he's going to come back. He's now actually got it into his head. He's got it into his head that we're somehow behind this, and it is physically impossible. Yeah. How are we being able to put a message on your machine, you fruitcake? I don't know. You've got me, you little cheekies.
What you don't realise, Chris, is Age privately messaged me with the real link, and then he's messaging on the group link with something else completely.
Yeah, we're operating off a series of mirrors here, in order to corrupt your morning.
Yeah. We're me and H are on the 2 hamster powered link, and you're on the 1 hamster powered link.
Well, but yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking. Like Tony says, you see a player who looks half decent for half a season, and you go in and lowball for him, and a player who's shown accreditation over a few terms, don't fancy him because that's what we wanted to do. And it just comes across as being petty to me, just blatantly petty.
I'm reading all these links about Dusan Vlahovic being available. Juventus doing everything they can to get rid of him, wanting to terminate his contract. Last night, he's been linked with Villa for 13 million. That's a signing we should be all over every day.
Vlahovic has just become the new Leandro Damião, hasn't he? Because every time this transfer, his name gets kicked into the mix again. It's just so boring. You just know these people are never coming to us. It's just
we've got 37 days until we play PSG. Well, we don't play them. We practice for shooting practice for them.
Well, we bend over and with a decent amount of lube and just hope that we don't get hurt too much.
Do you actually think,
Tony? I think they're more.
You don't bother with the lube. No, you just don't bother with the lube anymore. You just don't care anymore, mate, do you?
The way this computer's going, no.
I knew we were going to be freestyling it, but this may be a new low. This is either going to win us an award or.
Lube is basically prevention rather than cure. But Chris is just going for the E45 afterwards.
Yeah.
His lifetime supply of VAT in the garage.
Yeah.
Old Spice, you mean?
Small Figa.
Yeah.
Figa.
But it's true though, isn't it? We're substantially into a transfer window, and everybody around us is signing players, and we're still faffing around with payment plans.
We're still waiting.
Trying to keep players who don't want to be here.
Still waiting for Kyle Walker-Peters to return to the stadium and be heralded as the greatest utility player and best right back option we could have signed.
Well, Burnley are buying Kyle Walker, though, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, 35 years of age, his best days are behind him. I don't think he's a player he once was.
He'd still do a job for us, though. When you look at who we got at right back.
Yeah, I was going to say careful, because I've seen who we have at right back, and he could easily be replaced.
If he was back there now, he'd still do a job.
I'm just looking through all the team transfer activity, and ahead by a country mile of Liverpool. There's no two ways about it. Manchester City have made plenty of smart moves, and they're buying players here. I mean, just to dwell on City, because I think they're a little bit under the radar because they don't have a massive following online, which I know some people might find a shock, but it's true. Well, they've been to AC Milan, dropped 46 million, been to Wolves, dropped 30. I mean, this Ryan Aït-Nouri, or whatever his name.
He's a quality player.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. 36.3 million quid, and they've gone and bought Ryan Cherki, who we were also linked with, from Lyon for 34 million.
Rather than going for these players that we've got no chance of getting, why don't we go for Hayden Hackney from Middlesbrough, the central defensive midfielder? Why don't we go for McAtee from Man City, and why don't we go for Harvey Elliott from Liverpool? All of whom are English players, played really well for the under-21s, and should be achievable and gettable, and would improve us on what we've already got.
Well, that just sounds like a recipe for disaster. I mean, buying players you need. I mean, who does that? But I mean, look, Chelsea again. Gittins from Dortmund, 50 million. Pedro from Brighton, 60 million. Delap, Ipswich, 30 million. This is smart business. You might not like any of these clubs, but that wasn't the question. The question is who's doing some sensible shopping.
The question wasn't why is it that Chelsea continue to basically bend financial fair play over the arse and give it a good rogering, which is what they're doing. I mean, everyone's going on about Man City and their 115 charges. My God, Chelsea must be right up there with them. Honestly, it's absolutely strange.
They got fined 60 million euros, 30 million euros last week. They just pay it and they continue then signing further players. I've just sent you both a message in the chat window. If you have a look at that, that I've just sent you, that is what Chelsea have currently got forward-wise they're available.
Bloody hell.
Look at that. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
So I'm just going to rattle through this for the benefit of the tape. Chelsea forward selection box, because this isn't a bar of chocolate. This is a selection box. Raheem Sterling, Pedro Neto, Liam Delap, Noni Madueke, João Felix, Nicholas Jackson, Christopher Nkunku, Armando Broja, João Pedro, Tyreek George, that sounds like a made-up name, and Mark Hui. I mean, there's a ton of people there, an absolute ton of people.
Well, what's the point in fining? What is the point in fining a club with the riches that Chelsea have? That is the equivalent of, some, a football player, Jack Grealish crashing his Lambo into a wall on a road and then saying, "Oh, we're going to give you we're going to do £3,000 fine for that." So what? So what? The only way you're going to make this effective is to turn around and say to them, is to turn around and say to these clubs, right, that's it. No transfers for the next 2 windows. Bang, done. Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah.
End of.
No, I mean there aren't any proper consequences for anything in football, but you see that makes it even more worse.
Even more worse.
It makes it even more.
Because I understand the English language, my coup de grace.
I'm looking forward to the World Coupe when it comes around next time.
Nature's pronunciation of some of those foreign names, very good.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Look, mate, I don't speak foreign.
I'm sorry, but But to be fair, mate, he got it spot on with Raleigh. So let's come on. Let's
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, with your chopper in one hand and your strawberry mivvy in the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but you look at what these clubs are out there doing, and there are no consequences.
Strengthening their squads, trying to give it a good go.
Spurs are acting as if they'll fall down, go off the end of the world into a pit of dragons and flames and all the rest of it. And we're being very, 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 very respectful, and we're doing nothing.
No, well, we're just basically hoping at the moment. We're just basically hoping there's 3 worse teams than us again, aren't we?
Well, it's that Levy's pissed off most of the professional football clubs. Nobody wants to conduct transfer deals with him, and his previous bad behaviours coming back to bite us on the arse. And he is the one who will be stopping us progressing.
Well, I thought we had a great relationship with Brentford. Hence the reason why we got Frank relatively sort of like quickly. Well, then could we have not got Norgard? Could we not got Mbuemo? Could we not just jumped in there and got them?
Mbuemo deal's still there to be done if you wanted to, as he's not signed for
apparently so.
Yeah,
apparently so.
And even
I think they're very nourishing, those Bueno bars. I had one the other day. It was quite nice.
Did you have a kind of Bueno?
Yeah. That's a Kinder, you nitwit.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I was standing up for you for Raleigh, so shut up.
I've just come back from Kinder school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah,
poor old Chris, he'll go out of his box room there. The missus will be saying, they've been laughing at the way you speak again. You don't want to play with those boys. You want to play with the other boys. Don't listen to them.
Generally, I try not to play with any boys for your information.
Hold on. Emphasis being on the word try. There'll be a knock on the door tomorrow morning. Excuse me, young Christopher. You say you've been trying not to play with boys.
You thought they were Jonathan Barnett's, but no, they're here tonight. Metropolitan Police.
You always sound like Matt Hayes when you get.
That was the best Eamon Andrews you're going to hear this morning. Come on, this is
the only Eamon Andrews you're going to hear this morning.
He asked his wife. Yeah, there you go. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're having to make light of all this just tells you how absolutely desperate it all is in terms of the lack of activity. By a £5 million J League player. I mean, for God's sake, I thought we'd got rid of all that bollocks with Postecoglou disappearing, but apparently not.
No, we're revisiting that big time. Keep talking because it'll keep. Chris was about to say something wounding, and if you keep talking, it'll prevent you from doing that.
Yeah, I'll just lose my thought of mind.
Chris is just going to go, screw it.
Well, you see, there'll be some people doing podcasts today, and they'll have all their radars out and their maps and their arguments.
Not
and
us.
not us. We're going straight in
Offend as
for
many
rape.
people as we can.
We're just going in for rape, serial killers, holding people hostage against their will, torture, public displays of self-flagellation using ice creams and made-up bicycles. This is the way that you present people. This is the way you do it properly.
I was watching the news this morning, BBC News, and some woman in Australia has just been convicted of 4 counts of murder. She invited all her family around for beef Wellington and laced it with this highly poisonous mushroom.
That's right. That's because she found guilty, was she? Oh, right, yeah.
Her ex-husband, she invited him round on 3 occasions, and he was like a bit, why does she want me to come round, bearing in mind I'm her ex-husband? And quite right, she did the right thing and avoided it. But yeah, she murdered a lot of them, and you can. I told you, you can never trust Australians.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but what I haven't told you yet, she was actually being reported under assumed name, but Mrs. Postecoglou now faces a long time in prison.
Yeah, my family, mate.
Yeah. They keep me grounded.
Keep me grounded. I mean, I was telling her about the stone. I was telling about the Stonecutters Creed the other night, and they just lay there with their mouths open. No, they were asleep. You fat fuck.
But H, you're going on about all the things that we're talking about this morning. We're just playing to our audience, man. We're just playing to our audience.
This is what they want. This is what we asked our audience what they wanted, and that was what they wanted. They wanted sexual innuendo, rape, murder, death, kill, hostage.
Should we move on to drug and alcohol abuse?
Well, they presumed we were bringing that to the party,
Well, if you had that sounds like the perfect recipe for a Jason Statham film, isn't it? All we need now is
or as I call it, a good night in.
With a couple of fruit shoots for breakfast.
Yeah, and lubing up the chain on his chopper.
Yeah.
Right, we're coming up to the hour mark. I can't even believe I'm saying that. Any more for any more.
It's a miracle that Chris hasn't dropped out again.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, I was hoping at any minute that the end would come. No.
Well, what do we think then? I suppose the only thing to finish it off with, what do we think in terms of the trial? What do we think we're actually going to get done in between now and the end of the transfer window? What can you see?
Tony, we've got plenty more conversations between now and then. Don't ruin it.
We don't need to come to any great sweeping conclusions this early in the day, mate. That's a schoolboy 101 sort of error.
No, there's no sweeping conclusion to be made here, mate. We know exactly what's going to happen.
Tune it. Oh, this is the thing I was going to tell everybody. If you missed it, I'm going to be doing a live stream. Yeah, a watch along. You can imagine the fun we're going to have on that.
The National Crime Agency will be at your front door.
You thought no, but yeah. So that's the plan. The only problem is
I can imagine him doing the live stream. Oh, for fuck's sake, Vicar, what a fucking cunt it is.
Hey, Tony, you don't suffer from premature transfer speculation.
Really? Not since he's got his little envelopes arrive every 3 weeks.
I'm taking pills for that now, Chris. I'm fine.
But the only concern with it is the only concern with it is that the streams aren't all linked up. So what I'm going to do is you can watch it for free, and then I'm going to charge. It'll be something negligible, like £1, for you to make comments. I mean, not £1 per comment, but I'll work something out.
Well, yeah.
So because I just don't.
But I don't. And then they'll say, "H, I'll give you a tenner if you show me your moobs," and it'll all get a bit naughty. we could do international. We could get some content on from Thailand. We could have pussy fish and pussy ping pong, just to make it.
What is he talking about? No wonder your internet supply keeps on. Have you read the terms and conditions on your home service arrangement?
Somebody drop into Sean Connery there and go pushy,
yeah. Pushy ping pong.
That's your pushy.
Back to the world of flange ball in a moment's notice. That's our boy. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a live stream, to give everybody hope, opposed to the usual thing. I'm looking forward to a really exciting game. I will be consuming alcohol for probably most of the game, unless it gets really. Yeah. So it might be worth just paying for our second half package, which comes in at a very affordable £50 per person.
I look forward to reading the disclaimer for this monumentous occasion.
Well, the disclaimer will be in a downloadable PDF.
Well, let's put it this way. I think YouTube will probably substantially have to be rewriting their terms and conditions of posting.
Well, actually, I did look at a few of these live stream things, and the language used is pretty industrial, but it's not used by people who are used to speaking industrially on a professional basis, as I am. So, if you want colour, I'll give you a colouring book. It will be interesting.
As Billy Connolly once said, country and western music from Big Bill Connolly, the man who put the cut in country music.
Well, I will be exercising the Jonathan Barnett strategy on all occasions, and I won't be taking any hostages.
And on that note,
and on that bombshell. So don't forget to tune in next week, kids, where we will tell you all about the exciting transfers that Tottenham Hotspur Football Club will be making. And you can hear that news first by clicking on our link.
It's a rookie mistake. No one likes to see that, mate. No one likes to see that when you start talking about the transfers that Tottenham will be making.
That's the boring stuff. We don't care about that. We just want current affairs and world news and the stuff that gets people interested.
And the stuff that skirts legal action.
Don't mention skirts, not around Chris.
Not after that last business. Right, we've done an hour. You've had your money's worth. That's it for now. Good luck. Keep it Tottenham. I'm just going to press the button so they can speak freely.
That is a fun.